Acha, Prabhu.
Namaste, friends, and welcome to our Sunday edition of Words of Wisdom, Gyan Ganga on our Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channels. As usual, you know that we run two shows in the week. Saturday, we have the Legal Words of Wisdom, Nyay Gyan Ganga, and we have Sunday, our regular Words of Wisdom, Gyan Ganga. And in both the program, Dr. Swamy is available talking to on different topics and answering many of our questions by the panel as well as online question posed by our viewers. Uh, Today's Sunday Gyan Ganga earlier on, which we had in the earlier avatar, we had ran for nearly 3 months uh, daily show during the earlier COVID period. But as we have converted this into a Sunday program at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, today is our 94th episode on the Sunday edition and the earlier daily edition, and we have uh, our Saturday edition of the legal version. So I welcome all our viewers to our program, and as you very well know, I have my co-host Ramesh Swamy and Professor Arvind Chaturvedi with me on this show. And today we have a very interesting topic for discussion with Dr. Swamy, and the issues involved today in today's episode are problems facing Modi's governance and solutions, and the Tamil Nadu electoral politics. So these are the uh, basic issues that we will be discussing in today's thing as seen on your screen. So with these opening remarks, I thank our technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Vishal Mehta, Tejas from Pune, Ishwar Iyer from Navi Mumbai, Rakesh Gadgi from Karnataka, and Swaminathan from Tamil Nadu for their background support to put this program together. So, with these opening remarks, it is over to Dr. Swamy for his introductory remarks and discussion on this very important topic. Thank you, Dr. Swamy, and thank you, viewers across the globe.
Yeah, thanks, Jagdish. I will make a presentation for 15-20 minutes first on the governance aspect of Narendra Modi's tenure. And then perhaps you could have a discussion, questions from you three. And then I will go on to Tamil Nadu. And then, of course, we can end up with questions also. Perhaps we'll take the usual time and not more. But these are two heavy topics. And so I'll try to be as brief as possible without losing the meaning of what I'm about to say, or rather the implications of what I'm going to say. First of all, you see, in 2014, Modi, after getting elected and then taking the oath of office as PM, he announced that it will be only Vikas that he is interested in, and Vikas and governance. These are two things that he spoke about. And in his 15th August speech, he devoted entirely to the question of Vikas only. Now, he didn't define Vikas as a constructive program. If you want a program for Vikas, then you must specify what the objectives are, what the priorities of those objectives are, and this which objective comes first, which objective comes second, then the strategy to achieve those objectives, and the resource mobilization necessary for achieving those objectives. Now, when you make these four under four heads, you present your point of view, then you have a program, economically sound program, and others can then discuss it intelligently instead of guessing and so on. So, but Modi, not being an economist, and there no one else having, and Mr. Jaitley was the finance minister there. He knew even less economics, and so it basically it's what the bureaucrats were dishing out, and the consequence was that a series of wrong steps led to the growth rate, which in the first year reached 8%, to start declining year by year. And this is in the latest economic survey that has been put out on last Friday, and it's come in the newspapers also. They have given these figures, and they've given the figures even by quarters. And so there's been a steady decline in the growth rate. And the last quarter was January 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2020. In this last quarter, our growth rate, March 31st, just before the lockdown. Lockdown was announced on 24th, but it got moving really after in April onwards. So January, February, March, these constitute one quarter. There are 12 months, so there are 4 quarters. So there's a fourth quarter. Fourth quarter data shows that our GDP declined on an annual basis. To convert that quarter data into by comparing it to the quarter data of the previous year, you can get the annual growth rate equivalent. And the annual growth rate equivalent was minus 23.9%. So that's a huge drop. And the next quarter, 1st April to June 30th, was again a minus. And the third quarter, for which data have still not been even in this thing, they have not given complete data, even that is minus. So overall, if you are going to compare the period from 2020 April 1 to March 31st, 2021, which has not come yet, based on a very, I would say, very sketchy data. Because, for example, MSME, that is medium and small enterprises, they have no data, because the MSME data is collected by sample survey, and there's been no sample survey. So it's a guess. And so what they have done is they completely left it out. So it's a big minus, MSME, but they have not included it in the only organized industry. They have included in the national income data. And that shows, according to their own projection, without getting the data for this last quarter, which has not been available. It won't be available till after March 31st. They say the growth rate for the whole year would be something like minus 9.0 or 8.8 or something. It's around that there are so many estimates coming from here and there. Then this busybody IMF goes on putting out estimates, and then nobody remembers it, and so there's no accountability. So they can say anything at any time, depending on how they want to please the people in Delhi, because it's a government organization. So therefore, we have a situation where we are ending up with a big negative. Now, to turn it around and reach the earlier growth rate is going to be a huge factor. So let us understand this very clearly. Let us understand this very clearly, that if you are going to make up, even by their own estimate, say 8%, minus 8% growth rate for the whole year, even if you do that, then what will you find? You will find that in order to go back to a trend rate of 7.5%, 8%, 9%, whatever, it was going to take a huge jump, maybe 20, 22% plus. So today they are saying, no, not this 21, 22, we can't say what the growth rate will be, but we are expecting that 22, 23, that is 22 1st April to March 31st, 23, we will grow at 11%. I mean, this is the kind of, all these things which there is hardly anybody there, I'm sorry to say, amongst the media who has got the technical ability to put all this together, so on. So what I would say is that Vikas has gone for a 6. And governance, we are having huge problems from governance, first due to demonetization. We have still not recovered from it. We still don't know how much money has come back to the bank, amongst the old notes, which has not been published. How much has been printed, not published. And what is the impact on the black market? Well, nobody knows. So therefore, that was the governance failure there, because you didn't prepare for it. You should have, what you should have done, you should have first had enough new notes printed ready. And then the demonetization, you start giving out. How to give it out? Tell everybody, whatever old notes you have, come and deposit it in your own account. Don't stand in a queue in some designated bank, before some designated bank. But come to your own bank, in your own account, you put the money, no questions asked, but government will take away 15% of it as tax. And you can take away 35% of this as cash, new cash notes. And the remaining we'll keep in a fixed deposit. That will be about 50%. We'll keep in a fixed deposit and give you 2% interest on it. So therefore, if you had done that, there would have been no queues, no suicides, no more deaths, nothing. No. But it is finally in December of 2016, Mr. Our Shri Ravi Shankar asked me that Prime Minister wants some suggestion how we can improve the matter. So I suggested this, that tell people to deposit in your own bank. Government will take away 15%, and then you give 35% and put the rest at 2% interest in the fixed deposit. This proposal Prime Minister forwarded to Jaitley. Jaitley said, no, how why only 15%? We should give 50% tax. Now, who's going to pay 50% tax? Because illegally, bank clerks were giving money, new bank notes, delivery at the house of a people at 20%. So why should anybody go give 50%, and that to have their name in the sheets of the government banks, so that tomorrow there's a raid, they can raid them. So here there is all anonymity. So none of the money came, and in the process, even ISI printed counterfeit notes were exchanged for new notes. What is the way? Because the bank clerks come, they take the bori, and then they deliver a new currency bori at the house of anybody. There's no check whether it's a counterfeit note or a genuine note. Just has been now all ISI counterfeit notes have now become legal new notes. So this is the governance failure number one. Governance failure number two is GST. GST was not our proposal, it was Congress Party's proposal. They had circulated among states. That time, Gujarat State Chief Minister was Narendra Modi. He wrote a stiff letter. I will not implement this. You can implement it anywhere else, but in my state, I will not allow it to be implemented. That same Narendra Modi had brought this. I told him, please, this is an impossible task just now, because what you are doing is the entire sales tax and excise tax, which are collected, I'm talking about sales tax, which are collected by the states. You are going to collect it from your government, central government machinery, and put it where? And then what will the states do? States will say, oh, you are taking away our revenue, please compensate. So they worked out this principle that first they'll pass a constitutional amendment saying sales tax and indirect taxes will all be collected by government. And then the government, having collected it, why it was necessary to make arrangement, I'll tell you in a minute. But having collected it, they will then parcel out the money to the states according to what they were getting in the past as sales tax. So for that you need a machinery. Which government, how much is collected? How much was the indirect tax collected? 7 lakh crores. And what is Mr. Jaitley's proposal? The same proposal as Chidambaram's, namely HDFC, and what is that? CCI, whatever that lady's bank. She's
ICICI Bank, Dr.
ICICI Bank, not CCI Bank, but ICICI Bank. These two were given the majority shares in a new machinery created to collect this money. So all this 7 lakh crores was deposited in these two banks. These two banks then started lending out for 30, 15 days, 20 days, 30 days short-term loans and collecting money on that. They made huge killing on that. And we couldn't distribute it because Infosys said they will give a computer program for it, but failed to give it on, and told the government on the day with fanfare we were announcing it. And so without the money was just accumulating in these private banks. Then I raised a ruckus in parliament. Some of you who watched me would know it. And finally Modi nationalized that GSTN, as it was called, Goods and Services Tax Network. And government has taken it, but they don't. Infosys then said, no, we can't give you the, we are too small to give it. They took 4,000 crores, but they didn't produce the software for it. So now the government computer section, which does for income tax, and they are capable, they are in the process of making it. And in the process, the backlog is accumulating. And Nirmala Sitharaman tells the states, why don't you go and take a loan and give this as the mortgage? It's hilarious. So it is a total collapse. And today people are making forged bills, claiming exemptions, refund. All this is going on. And today, in fact, in the newspaper, it has come how this is being done. So that was also governance failure. So that was the second governance failure. Third, this Raghuram Rajan, my God, he was a gift of of the UPA to us, and all he was doing is raising interest rates. And somebody asked him, why you're raising interest rates? He said, because I want to discourage people from taking loans. Imagine. And by that, I will reduce inflation. But these small and medium industries, they are totally dependent on loans. And if you're raising interest rates, they'll become bankrupt. The largest collapse of the small and medium industries has taken place in Indian history during the NDA period, because Raghuram Rajan was given a free hand to go on raising interest rates. He in fact told a friend of mine, unless I raise interest rates, I cannot control the inflation. I said, well, economics is a macroeconomic setup. You do something here, something else will happen. So so my friend said, please give me in ordinary language what you mean. I said, you see, If you want to bring down the high temperature of a patient, then you kill him, then the temperature will come down. So same way, if you want the prices to come down, you wreck the Indian economy, and automatically, there'll be a total depression, and prices will come down. So therefore, this is also mismanagement. I can't blame Modi. He doesn't know economics. So therefore, whoever told him this is good or bad, he went along with it. Whoever were his favorites. He didn't ask me. He didn't ask anybody else. Of course, I wrote him letters, which he acknowledged, but nothing was done on it. So the first the year has been a great failure in governance, and the solution today, you want the economy to revive? Well, the only way to revive it is lower interest rates, let people go and take loans, and on the other hand, abolish income tax, favorite proposal of mine, that will generate demand. Then tell Gadkari, build as many roads as you want. I'll print notes and give it to you. Don't worry. You will have never a shortage of things. Right now, Gadkari is all the time being blocked by the bureaucrats and saying, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Where's the money? Otherwise, he would build many more roads. All he has built, which the Chinese got scared in Ladakh, was thanks to him. So if you build a 8-lane highway from Delhi to, or it's called, Americans call it turnpike, from Delhi to Madras, Calcutta to Bombay, how much employment you will generate, and how many shops will come on the way, this, that, the whole economy will start moving. This is what the Americans did. This is what President Roosevelt did after the Great Depression. So now I am saying that there is a solution to these problems, but it requires an economic sense. I don't know who told him that till after we got a victory again in 2019. Modi announced that he will in 5 years, he will have our GDP go to $5 trillion. It was $2.5 trillion when he announced it, which means in 5 years it will double. If you double in 5 years, it means the GDP growth rate will be 14.4% per year. Now you are not even getting 3%, and you are talking about 14.4%. And I kept on saying it. Then I had to go public. I said, he doesn't know economics, so somebody has told him, and he's saying this. And today, basic economics, there is no one to tell Modi without fear. They're all shivering. You ask the economists and the finance ministers, they're all shivering. They come and give press conferences. What rubbish they talk. But they have to. So the climate is such that pointing out mistakes, if you do point out mistakes, I can write to him, but I don't think he reads it. So it sends it back to the same people who don't want me to succeed. Then they were, what these crazy characters who get money and put false ID, they go after me. I'm criticizing them. What am I supposed to do? If this party is not based, this is a democracy. This is not Soviet Union. This is not China. That you can't speak against the party. I'm not speaking against the party. You call a party national executive meeting, of which I'm still a member. You ask there, and I think, please, let's debate this issue. But none of that is being done. It's all bureaucrats and the prime minister. So this governance is today suffering because there is no political input backed by solid economic theory for economic growth. So this is the main thing, and I would say that we have to now understand. Now you see, new slogan, he's no more talking about Vikas. He's talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, what does Atmanirbhar Bharat mean? Why didn't you do Atmanirbhar for Covishield that is produced in a foreign country? So you have to, you may explain. Atmanirbhar means you'll always depend on yourself. It is self-sufficiency. The translation, English translation, Atmanirbhar is self-sufficiency. So what we want is self-reliance, which means produce as much as you can. But if you want to buy something from abroad, pay for it by what you earn by exports. So your exports should go up. So that is called self-reliance. That is Swalamban or Swadeshi. These are the things that are different. Atmanirbhar means self-sufficiency. I don't think in this 21st century anybody can be self-sufficient. He has to buy and sell international trade. So in this context, I think first of all, I'm not afraid that BJP will lose an election, because based on 2019 elections and my predictions, as long as we are sincere about Hindutva, you'll have no difficulty at all winning. In Uttarakhand, we are going to lose because we went against Hindutva. We nationalized all the temples, all 53 temples, and made the chief minister the chairman of all the temples. I mean, this is totally against our ideology. And there are so many other things that are happening, you see. So therefore, keep your ideology intact. Do continue to do work. Focus on Hindutva and keep doing. Ram Setu to be declared as a national heritage monument. This Supreme Court has given a notice saying if you don't, we'll do it. Then 3 months you give it. And then this corona business came. So it's still not come back to the Supreme Court. And I've asked for an urgent hearing. Now, what is the difficulty? I mean, where Jawaharlal Nehru used to meet Edwina Mountbatten in Simla, that has been declared as a national heritage monument by the previous government. So, all the conditions necessary for Ram Setu to be declared a national heritage monument is there, but going on delaying. No. And the culture minister has recommended. So, I'm saying don't make a mistake of ignoring Hindutva. That is the base of our coming to power. And what you want, good governance, you must learn to have senior colleagues in your government who can talk to you and talk back to you and say this can be done, can't be done. And there should be people who have some backing in their education. So, but that as long as that is not there, just by Dadagiri, fake ID, tweets spreading slander, vulgarity, filth, you are not going to scare people. There are enough people in the party now to know that this way we go, we are going to have a lot of problems. So in this context, you have to look at his other policies also. So much of his great world leader issue, what has happening in China. Even today, he has not taken the name of China and called them an aggressor. Have we said all we are seeing is disengagement? What do you mean by disengagement? They are sitting on our territory. You should say evacuation of the Chinese is our goal, not disengagement. It suits Chinese if we disengage. Now work is done. We are here. We will put down our arms. You also put down your arms. But we are sitting pretty on 8,000 square kilometers of your land in Ladakh. Now I'm not talking about Aksai Chain. Aksai Chain is temporarily with them because we drew a LAC so that we can have negotiations. But Aksai Chain is not decided in their favor. It is just that as is where is. And now they have come across the LAC and taken over. So I would say today that there are a lot of questions about governance. The Prime Minister should have the broad shoulders of calling the critics in his party, sitting with them, people who go around the country, who campaign for the party, who have done so much work for the Hindutva. Look at this poor Uma Bharati who has praised me today. I feel very bad when I see this lady has done so much to propagate in the 90s in fact from starting from 85, 86, she started this Ram Janmabhoomi movement. She's they prosecuted her. She was in fact preparing to go to jail, but when the judgment fortunately went in her favor and the other people. So these people are not being considered. Shanta Kumar, I mean, he knows Himachal like the back of his hand. He was a great minister, great chief minister. So this talent, need not mention Murli Manohar Joshi and Advani. These are experienced people. Even my saying is not necessary. There are so many talented people in the party. They should be brought together and a real Margdarshan mandal should be there. Right now, they don't like Margdarshan; they just like the mandal, but they don't like Margdarshan. For instance, I'm on giving daily Margdarshan on TV, on print, and elsewhere, but people are getting irritated. So let me therefore say that I conclude saying that we are in big trouble. We are in trouble with foreign policy. No country has come categorically in our favor. I've got the list of the official pronouncement of every country. They've not come in our favor. Our economy is in a mess. And now we have this farmers issue also, which has suddenly become worse. So our country requires now serious thinking on how to improve the governance.
Dr. Swamy, I have a question for you. There are some people who are trying to say, no, FDI has come in a big way, and the stock market blooming. Stock market is an all-time high. On those both these issues of FDI and stock market, can we have your comments? Is it an indicator of the good health of the economy?
Well, first of all this money of this in this 1 year, which country has given you the maximum in terms of increase in foreign direct investment? Cayman Island, which is the second country which is giving you the maximum. Singapore, which is the third country which has given you the maximum.
Mauritius.
Dubai.
Mauritius.
No, Mauritius fourth. United States 7th. Germany 8th. So what does it mean? Cayman Island? The only thing Cayman Island is known for is money laundering. Illegal bank accounts, secret bank accounts. So is Singapore, so is Dubai, so is Mauritius. And Mauritius then has this participatory note racket combined with participatory note is the most fraudulent thing which committees after committees set up by the previous government said should be abolished. But it is grown. And what it is, anybody with cash can go to a bank like Morgan Stanley and say, please give us a participatory note. Here's my Indian passport. Indian passport you have to show because no other country in the world has participatory notes. And they'll give you a piece of paper with no serial number, no date, nothing except the amount. And you take that, bring it to India. No questions asked. The Reserve Bank will give you a photostat of it and mention the rupee equivalent, and that you go to the stock market and give them, and they will buy you stocks. This stock market is the most rigged stock market. If you really want to know about our stock market through and through, call Sri Iyer to give you a lecture on the stock market. It's a total fraud, and I'm telling you, when they start pulling out the participatory notes and all this illegal money, there will be a crash. I won't be surprised in June if the stock market crashes, because now people have earned the money, the stock market is boomed, they will sell at the high and it will all come down.
Dr. Swamy, the Indian retail investors is less than 10%. It's about 9%.
Yeah, that's right. So, you're right.
Yeah. So how can the stock market boom? Any retail investors? It's nothing. It's completely driven by institutional investors, either whatever FDI nonsense. They are only looking for a quick buck. If your stock market goes, they know better when the market is going to go down. They're going to make the market and walk away. So is that a source of the economy? It's really retarded. One new survey that I read in the newspapers today, Dr. Swamy. I don't know what is with Modi selecting a lot of Subramanians, but Subramanian Swamy. Okay, so first is Arvind Subramanian, now it's this other Subramanian.
No, they are not politicians, so they qualify. I'm a politician. That's the problem.
So the thing is,
who has an independent base.
So new prediction is that GDP will grow at 14.5%. I just fell off the chair. I said, serious. I mean, How is that even possible? I mean, even if you print notes, I don't know. I mean, I just don't realize when you have a negative of about 5%, right? Net, is that where we are today? Negative 5%, somewhere around.
No. We have our annual equivalent, the annual rate, without taking into account the decline in small and medium industries, in service industries, only on organized sector, it is supposed to be, according to their own estimate, minus 7.7% for the year.
Yeah. So
No other agencies in the world are giving India anything less than 9%. Mine own is 12%, minus 12%. So, and the first quarter, of course, it was minus 23.9%.
So how come they're estimating 14.5%, Dr. Swamy? I'm just, I am like fascinated.
Who's going to question? We have a pussycat for the media today, and they will only put out the headlines which has been told to them. So, I mean, I think we have to learn the hard way.
He's saying that the finance ministry's economic survey projects that India's real GDP, I don't know what that term real GDP means, would record a growth of 11% in 21-22.
Yeah, when you come to that, nobody will remember that he said it. There should be some accountability. Now, if it doesn't turn out to plus minus 2 of this estimate, you're getting the sack and you're being sent to a home.
Amazing numbers.
All the things that come in the newspaper. Now there's a new thing. This IMF is completely sold out. They're all looking for jobs. As Raghuram Rajan came to India the same way. I'm sure this lady who's Gopalan or something, she wants also to get a job in India. I think the way she's putting out all these bogus data to give us headlines in our newspapers.
Yeah, go ahead, Arvind.
ओके डॉक्टर स्वामी, मैं आपसे कुछ हिंदी में सवाल पूछूंगा अपने हिंदी भाषी दर्शकों के लिए
जी।
और चूंकि हम मोदी की प्रशासन पद्धति के बारे में आज चर्चा कर रहे हैं, दो मुद्दे हैं। एक जो पिछले 6 साल से जो मोदी जी का शासन है उसके बारे में, दूसरा जो अभी हाल में जो हालात बने हैं और पिछले विशेषकर 6 महीनों में। तो पहले जो 6 साल वाला है, हम प्रभावित थे मोदी जी के 56 इंची सीने से। 56 इंची सीने का मतलब होता है मर्दानगी, निडरता, साहस दिखाना और हिम्मत करके कड़े कदम उठाना, ताकि जो भी उचित हो बिना डर के वो कदम उठाया जाए। अब अगर हम वाड्रा के और सोनिया गांधी के भ्रष्टाचार के ऊपर लें, अभी तक कोई कदम नहीं उठाया गया। अगर हम राहुल गांधी की नागरिकता का प्रश्न लें तो वो फाइल गृह मंत्री के पास पड़ी है, उस पर कोई कदम नहीं उठाया गया। आपने राम सेतु का जिक्र किया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के बिल्कुल स्पष्ट निर्देशों के बावजूद उसको हेरिटेज डिक्लेयर नहीं किया जा रहा। और अगर हम भ्रष्टाचार की बात करें तो पिछले 6 साल में हम एक गिनती, चाहे वो किसी पूंजीपति की हो, चाहे वो किसी राजनीतिक की हो, गिनती नहीं कर सकते कि किसको उसमें सजा मिली। नेशनल हेराल्ड में जिस प्रकार से उस बिल्डिंग को विदेश मंत्रालय को किराए पर दिया गया और आपके कोर्ट जाने के बावजूद भी कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया गया, तो ये बड़ी खेद की बात है। ये तो पिछले 6 साल का हुआ। पिछले 6 महीनों में जो हुआ है, विशेषकर किसानों के बिल आने के बाद जो हुआ है, अब सरकार ये तैयार है। हम पिछले हफ्ते की बात करें तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने उन्होंने कहा हम किसान के जो 3 बिल हैं, कानून है, इनको 18 महीने के लिए सस्पेंड करने के लिए तैयार है। ये कौन सी मर्दानगी है? आपको सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास जाना चाहिए था कि ये पार्लियामेंट ने विधिवत पास किया है, दोनों सदनों ने पास किया है, राष्ट्रपति ने हस्ताक्षर किए हैं, ऐसे को हम सस्पेंड कैसे कर देंगे? आप किसानों को समझाइए। पूरा तंत्र फेल हो चुका है किसानों को समझाने में। कितनी मुश्किल की बात है। हरियाणा, पंजाब और पश्चिम उत्तर प्रदेश सिर्फ 3 इलाके हैं देश के जहां के किसान उद्वेलित हैं, और इन 3 इलाकों के किसानों को सरकार समझा नहीं पा रही है। तो ये फेलियर नहीं तो और क्या है?
मैं कहता हूं, जहां तक किसान का सवाल है, आप कहती हो तो ये तो सिर्फ पंजाब के लोग कर रहे हैं, तो फिर कह दो कि सिर्फ पंजाब को हम मुक्त करते हैं, बाकी सारे प्रांतों में हम इसको लागू करते हैं। जो भी प्रांत कहता हम तैयार हैं, उसको हम कहते हैं तुम लागू करो, और उसमें से विकास निकलेगी तो सबको पता लगेगा कि भी हम बेवकूफ रहे।
बहुत अच्छी बात कही आपने।
प्रचार में अब सिर्फ रूल्स में लिखना है, अभी रूल्स बनी नहीं है, जैसे ACAA का भी रूल्स अभी तक नहीं बनी है। लोग कहते हैं कि अमेरिका से डर डर के मारे नहीं बनाई है अभी तक। और रूल्स बनाइए कि ये जो एक्ट है ये उन्हीं प्रांतों पर लागू होगी जो हमें लिखित में कहेंगे कि हमें चाहिए।
जी,
जो
बहुत
कहेगा
अच्छा।
कि हमें नहीं चाहिए नहीं लागू होगी, क्योंकि एग्रीकल्चर तो संविधान में संपूर्ण रूप से प्रांतों की अधिकार है। इन्होंने हम लोगों ने एक तिकड़म किया है, वो क्या है कि ठीक है आप खेत करना ये सारा प्रांत का है, परंतु व्यापार जो है बेचने का वो तो इसेंशियल कमोडिटीज एक्ट में आएगी, वो तो प्रांत अखिल भारतीय कानून है और उसी लिए हम उस पर संशोधन कर रहे हैं कि मंडियों को इतना बनाएंगे, ऐसा बनाएंगे, वैसे बनाएंगे, इतना अधिकार देंगे। सब बेचने के लिए, बोने के लिए नहीं है, फर्टिलाइजर देने की नहीं है, कर्जा देने की नहीं है, उसके लिए कोई इसमें रिफॉर्म नहीं है। सिर्फ कैसे आप इसको बेचोगे और आपको सही दाम मिलेगी, इसके लिए ये बनी है। तो इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं कि पंजाब को कह दीजिए, देखिए तुम लिख कर दे दो कि हमें नहीं चाहिए, हम आप पर नहीं लागू करेंगे। बाकी जो भी कहेगा कि हाँ हम चाहते हैं, हमारी बीजेपी की सरकार है, उन्हीं में लगा दो
बिल्कुल,
और दिखा दो कि भाई कितना फर्क पड़ता है।
जी जी।
ये तो जब कि ये नहीं, जो दो पहलवान जो मुड़ जाते हैं ना, या उसको क्या कहते हैं, भिड़ जाते हैं, मुड़ जाते हैं या भिड़ जाते हैं, भिड़ जाते हैं ना, तो वैसा हो गया। अच्छा ठीक है तुम करो, मैं देखता हूँ। और वो कहते हैं हम देखते हैं तुमको। इस तरीके से
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा सुझाव दिया आपने डॉक्टर स्वामी। इससे तो अब जो गेंद जो है सर उनके पाले में चली जाएगी, राज्य सरकारों के पाले में।
प्रधानमंत्री को लिखकर भेज दिया है, तभी नहीं। अच्छा, ये एडवाइस हमारी जो रोहतक में जो IIM के है ना, प्रोफेसर शर्मा, नहीं जगदीश, शर्मा जो डायरेक्टर हैं,
प्रोफेसर धीरज शर्मा,
हाँ, उन्होंने ये सारा दस्तावेज तैयार किया है। उसको बुलाकर बोलो, मैंने ये भी सुझाव दिया, उसको बुलाकर बुलाओ। तो ये इतना सरल है, ये तो 5 मिनट में ये सारा बंद हो सकता है। इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट मैं पहलवान तू पहलवान का हालत हो गई है।
और जो पेंडिंग भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध मामले हैं उनके बारे में
भाई उसमें तो मैं क्या बोलूं, क्योंकि जहां तक नेशनल हेराल्ड जो वो क्रिमिनल केस जो मैंने डाली है वो तो हम जीत जाएंगे और बहुत आगे बढ़ गई है। सिर्फ ये देखना है कि भाई वो उनके पक्ष में, जैसे अरुण जेटली करता था, पक्ष में ना हस्तक्षेप करें, मुझे छोड़ दें, मैं कर दूंगा। परंतु बाकी एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट का एक कलकत्ता का मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग से पैसा लिया है, ये यंग इंडियन जो कंपनी है इनकी, ये तो 5 मिनट का काम है इनको अंदर जेल भेजने के लिए, नहीं कर रहे हैं। फिर इनकम टैक्स में जिस ऑफिसर ने उसका नाम भूल गया हूं, बट जिस इनकम टैक्स कमिश्नर ने बहुत सुंदर दस्तावेज तैयार किया है, जिसको कोर्ट में सोनिया गांधी की वकील डट के विरोध कर रहा है कि नहीं आप इसको पेश नहीं कर सकते हो। कैसे नहीं पेश कर सकते हैं, वो तो पेश हो जाएगा। तो उस व्यक्ति की जो उसने रेकमेंड की उसको इम्प्लीमेंट अभी तक नहीं किया। वह सुप्रीम कोर्ट में पड़ा हुआ है, हाई कोर्ट में हार गई सोनिया गांधी इसकी अपील में। अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट में तो हमारे जो सॉलिसिटर जनरल है वो सो रहे हैं। और क्यों सो रहे हैं? क्योंकि उनको सोने के लिए कहा गया है। नहीं तो इस पर जाकर अर्जेंसी करना चाहिए। दिस इज अ मैटर ऑफ corruption by people who are members of parliament who have been running a government and all that. तो इस तरीके से करनी चाहिए, वो नहीं है। और दूसरा है कि कहीं स्वामी को क्रेडिट मिल जाएगी, वो भी एक बड़ा भयंकर प्रॉब्लम है ना, इसीलिए तो राम सेतु नहीं हो रहा है। स्वामी को श्रेय नहीं मिलना चाहिए, बस ठीक है मैं दे दूंगा लिखकर कि सारा 100% नरेंद्र मोदी का कृपा, राम सेतु को राष्ट्रीय धरोहर घोषित कर दीजिए।
डॉक्टर स्वामी, डॉक्टर अरविंद चतुर्वेदी ने एक सवाल किया आपसे कि राहुल गांधी की जो ब्रिटिश सिटीजनशिप
का प्रश्न,
उनको
वो तो है ही,
29
अप्रैल
2019 को होम मिनिस्टर मिस्टर राजनाथ सिंह जब थे, उनके
उन्होंने नोटिस भेज दिया था,
नोटिस भेजा है। तो अभी लगभग
उसका जवाब क्या है राहुल गांधी का? ये स्वामी ने पेश किया तो उससे पूछो, अरे तुम्हारी दस्तखत है, ये तुम्हारी दस्तखत है कि नहीं है, इतना जानने के लिए जवाब दे। मैं और एक बताता हूँ, मैं और सोनिया गांधी ने फिर झूठ बोल दिया है लोकसभा हूसू में कि उसको डिग्री मिली है कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी से। तो मैंने स्पीकर को लिख दिया, ये तो पहले ही इसको डांट पड़ी है, और ये दोबारा भेज दी उसने। आज तक उसने एक्शन नहीं लिया। मैं जानता हूँ उनको बोला गया, उन्होंने जाकर पूछा होगा कि भाई इसमें कदम उठाना कि नहीं, अभी तक उस पर कदम नहीं उठाया। तो ये कहीं ऐसा है कि ऐसे लोग रहेंगे ऑपोजिशन में तो हम जीत जाएंगे। गलती वाजपेयी ने भी किया था, और फिर आप जानते हैं परिणाम क्या हुआ। ऐसा होता नहीं है। तो आप देश में काम नहीं होगा तो फिर लोग सोचेंगे, लोग तो नेगेटिव वोट ही ज्यादा डालते हैं, किसी को उखड़ के निकालने के लिए वो करते हैं वोट, किसी को लाने के लिए करते नहीं है। वो आ जाती है ऑटोमेटिकली, जैसे आप किसी को निकालोगे तो किसी को तो आना ही है। तो इसीलिए ये है।
डॉक्टर स्वामी
तमिलनाडु के ऊपर चर्चा कर लें।
तमिलनाडु कर लें।
नहीं, डॉक्टर स्वामी एक सवाल है।
हाँ,
बहुत लोग खास करके अंधभक्त ये प्रचार कर रहे हैं कि आर्थिक परिस्थिति का सुधार इसके लिए नहीं हुआ है कि कोविड-19 के कारण, बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड। तो लोग एटलीस्ट आप हमारे व्यूअर्स को ये बता दे कि लास्ट क्वार्टर ऑफ 2019-20 जो 3 महीने थे लगभग कोविड शुरू होने के पहले, उस 3 महीने के या वो लास्ट क्वार्टर के परफॉर्मेंस क्या रहे?
नहीं, मैं आपको कहता हूँ, ये मैं क्यों बोलूँ उनको, मैं कहूँगा आपके फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री ने अभी माने शुक्रवार को इकोनॉमिक सर्वे का रिपोर्ट निकाली है। उसमें देख लो, टेबल बनी है और ग्राफ बनी है कि 2015-16 क्या था, 16-17 क्या था। तो उसमें से ही गिरते द होल ऑफ 2019-20 का ग्रोथ रेट 4% है, फोर्थ क्वार्टर 3.1% है, क्योंकि वो गिरते जा रही है। तो ये अपना जो ये सब अनपढ़, ये देखिए, ये जो सारा जो आते हैं ना फेक आईडी में, वो सब घटिया लोग हैं। वो तो आधा तो जानते भी नहीं है क्या लिख रहे हैं, क्योंकि उनको लिख कर दिया जाता है भाई तुम फाइल करो तुम्हारे कंप्यूटर से। तो वो उनको दोष देने के तो अंधभक्त कहना चाहिए उनको।
डॉक्टर स्वामी,
अंधभक्त को क्या पता है, वो उनका सुनाई भी नहीं देता, कुछ नहीं देता। वो तो सब जानवर जैसे हैं जो दस्तखत करते हैं, बस इतना ही होता है। तो मैं ये कहता हूँ कि जो भी ऐसा कहें तो उनको बोलो कि आप फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री की जो अभी छपी हुई है उसको देखकर आप बताइए कि क्या सिर्फ कोरोना के पीरियड में हुआ है या दूसरे पीरियड में हुआ है।
Dr. Swamy, I think at least last week episode and this week episode, thanks to VHS, all these underbucks and bakras, we get stimulus checks number 1 last week. Now with this week, they will get stimulus check number 2 for attacking you. At this rate, that big man from PMO will lose his entire budget for trolling you within this quarter itself. Or he likes all his budget.
Economy will not get stimulus funds, but these
bakras will get. These bakras are going to get highly stimulated and get a lot of stimulus checks.
It's pathetic seeing them. Pathetic.
डॉक्टर स्वामी, ये जो वी शेप रिकवरी की बात हो रही है,
we are in 10:20. Can we switch to the second topic?
Just half a minute.
Okay,
ये जो वी शेप रिकवरी की बात हो रही है, ये वी शेप रिकवरी अगर जगदीश शेट्टी जी का प्रश्न लिया जाए तो हमें लगता है जो वी शेप का जो बायां हाथ है वो 5 साल का है और दाहिना भी 5 साल का होगा। तो हम पिछले 5 साल में रिकवरी अब अगले 5 सालों में करेंगे।
एक अब अर्थशास्त्री हैं जो मनमोहन सिंह के साथ थे, संजय बारू,
हाँ,
उन्होंने कहा वी शेप नहीं, के शेप्ड,
अच्छा,
क्योंकि कई चंद पूंजीपतियों का तो ऊपर जा रहा है, बाकी भारत के जो आम जनता है उसकी नीचे जा रहा है, तो, और देश ऐसा जा रहा है, तो के शेप्ड।
जी जी, यू कैन स्टार्ट तमिलनाडु।
देखिए, तमिलनाडु एक बहुत, I mean, I'll speak in English first, then you can ask questions. And see, the Tamil Nadu thing is very, very interesting because it's not a small state. It's a huge state. They send, including Pondicherry, 40 MPs to Lok Sabha MPs to Delhi, to Parliament. And 40 is a huge number. And there have been occasions when parties have got all 40, like Jayalalitha once got, and then once Karunanidhi got, and so on. So they can be a force in who will form the government in Delhi. I mean, whoever gets that kind of sweep. Today, what is the problem is there is a contest between ADMK, led, which is so-called ADMK, and that ADMK is headed by this Edapati and Paneer Selvam, and these kind of, they are all with no charisma at all. And after Jayalalitha, whether they can repeat the performance of victory of 2016 is very, very doubtful. Also, their economic performance has been so-so, and only by media efforts they've got some impression created in some circles, and consequently they are fighting another party which is also bereft of a charismatic leader or a national Tamil Nadu known leader, that is Karunanidhi is not anymore. But DMK has always had a very good organization, and their cadre right down to the polling booth they have. ADMK is always won by charisma. First MGR's charisma and then Jayalalitha's charisma. But in terms of organization, they are not, they have people. I've been their ally in one election, I know it. Of course, I contested from Madurai where they had no organization. They had never won Madurai seat ever before I won it. But I know from other parts that they have a very strong sectional base. For example, southern Tamil Nadu, the ADMK has got there's a very big population of Tevars, and they are well-to-do farmers, and they are also in trade and so on. They are very also fierce fighters. So they, Muthuramalinga Tevar, for example, was a Tevar. And so therefore, if they decide to back somebody, they can clean sweep the whole of the southern area, which will be something like 80 seats will go in favor of a party. And you need essentially out of 234, half of it would be 112 or something like that. So therefore, today the contest is between DMK and ADMK. ADMK is banking on the so-called performance in the government, which has now been completely shattered. You may have seen the Indian Express. There's a big story about how Gurumurthy has been given a firing by Amit Shah, who refused to attend his program on Tughlaq annual function, even after accepting it and after being publicized, because they said that Gurumurthy has betrayed what he had promised to do, and 6 months of preparation was withheld of the BJP, and therefore today we are in this miserable state. So then all that is there. I don't know, it's only for Gurumurthy to reply if it's true or not. It doesn't matter. Gurumurthy's work is always like this, only he has no public standing. It's all this kind of fixing this and telling I've got this connection in Delhi and so on. So therefore BJP is not a factor. BJP is a parasite in Tamil Nadu, and they have to stick with one or the other. If they went with DMK, DMK will not, of course, accept it in the first place. But if they went, as Vajpayee went with Karunanidhi, then the little base that BJP has will also run away. They'll go to ADMK. So that's what happened in 2004. Vajpayee was banking on DMK and got nothing. So I would say today, forget all other parties. There are only two parties, and the only what will I call that as a the one extra factor which is called catch-22 factor, and that is Sasikala. She is highly respected in the Tevar community. She, by the way, although I said it was my petition ultimately which sent her to jail, but originally I had not included her name because I knew that she was just serving Jayalalitha. So my petition had only Jayalalitha's name. On that basis, Jayalalitha lost the election and Karunanidhi party came to power, and they then inserted Sasikala, etc., because they knew that she is the real organizational base of the party. But then, having inserted, there was no question of my saying no, I want this deleted. So I continued to do it, and as a consequence of my arguments, she also had to go to jail. Now, what I'm saying is, now she's come back. She's a new person because she has served a sentence. There are lots of crooks in our politics. No one has served any sentence. She's at least has served a sentence. So she has got Ganga Snan, I would say. And if she decides to play a role in politics, she becomes a factor. And that factor would go against ADMK. And it goes against ADMK, that is the so-called Edapadi Pannirselvam party. Then the DMK will be the victor. But that will be only for the assembly. By then, Sasikala's emergence in the Lok Sabha election, Sasikala can easily sweep the 39 plus 1, that is Pondicherry 1, 40 seats, and she could become a factor in forming the government in Delhi. So Tamil Nadu situation is in an extremely crucial side. BJP has a long-term future if they contest all the seats. Losing, no problem. Like they've done in Bengal, like they did in Karnataka. Originally, Karnataka, I have been there when we used to never save deposit in any of the seats. But ultimately, because we created a cadre, a familiarity and so on, soon one day came when we are able to sweep Karnataka and form a government with absolute majority. Of course, we had a leader like Yedurappa, so it was possible also. So therefore, in Tamil Nadu today, I think we should say it doesn't matter, no seats. You're getting after begging, you get 5 seats and you win 2 seats. What's the point in that? So let us contest every seat, and so start building a base. Then you will start winning, and slowly the thing will gather momentum. But as of now, today, Tamil Nadu, the DMK is, in my opinion, ahead unless some event takes place, or Edapadi steps down and asks Sasikala to take over the ADMK. Then I'm 100% certain that the ADMK will then win the election. But I don't think they will do that because I don't think that the BJP leadership in Delhi wants Sasikala because she's a strong personality. BJP wants people who they can manipulate. Naturally, that's any party would want that. They don't want somebody who's equal to you or talks back to you or grows independently of you. So therefore, I would say this is the position in Tamil Nadu.
Well, that's an excellent summarization of where we are. Sadly, JP Nadda has said that they're going to form an alliance with the ADMK, which is again very surprising that they have to do this. They don't want to learn, in spite of your experience in Tamil Nadu. They don't want to listen and say, okay, let's fight it out. Whatever alliance you do post-poll, why are you surrendering now? It's kind of very surprising that they're doing this right now. The second point, in 2007...
Yeah, I'll interrupt you here.
Yeah, okay.
Even if BJP gets some seats, I will tell you that at the constituency level, ADMK workers and DMK workers will make a deal. This one you win and this one you will. At this time, you will not even get 1 seat. in the election in alliance with ADMK.
But sadly, Dr. Swamy, even BJP has gained a lot of traction as an own. I mean, be it thanks to Modi in a lot of cases, they don't want to, take advantage of that. There is a lot of momentum being built up.
Yeah, India standing alone, yes.
Yeah, standing alone, there is a lot of momentum that's behind BJP, but they are
Absolutely.
afraid that they will lose.
A lot of
I think
grievance amongst Hindus. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because they're afraid that that the Modi's image of winning forever will dent. I mean, which is again a facade. But anyway, I'm just saying that he'll always win, kind of a facade being built around him. I think Modi is getting sucked into that. I just want to make one additional point. From back in 2017, okay, you said if this EPS OPS kind of surrendered before she went to jail, Sasikala went to jail. Said if they surrender to Sasikala is the only way to keep DMK out.
That's right.
4 years later, it's true. Even that is exactly what it is. If they'd listened back then properly, I mean, even now, that is true. I mean, Sasikala has got a strong cadre behind her. Obviously, she cannot become a chief minister. She cannot.
And she's got the most powerful community of Tamil Nadu, the Tevars.
Absolutely. Politically, I mean, all said and done, Dr. Swamy, all this nonsense of no caste and all this is the idiotic thing that they talk in Tamil Nadu. Outside of Chennai, everything is caste politics. Period. There is nothing. We cannot deny that. It's really stupid not to deny that everything is caste-based politics. Right now, if you look, what's happening in Tamil Nadu,
it has to be because there are no issues. What is the issue? That if there's an issue, people rise above caste. But if there's no issue, for instance, how did Jayalalitha come to power in 2016? Just by saying 1,76,000 crores is the bribe. She took placards with with her picture and a question, where did this 1,76,000 crores go? Karunanidhi. That's all.
That's all. Absolutely non-issue based. Even though the ADMK government has done a good, allegedly a good, in some quarters, as you said, the media saying that they're doing some good job in terms of the way they handle Corona crisis and all. Charisma is zero. In Tamil Nadu, charisma, unfortunately, for the past 60 years, it is built around charisma.
Absolutely.
If they could have built, even though, obviously, if 60% of the people don't like Modi, don't worry about it. He's got a brand. They could have exploited it, but they're afraid to, which is sad, absolutely sad. And beyond reasonable doubt of all of this, your experience, they just don't want to listen to you. They don't want to hand over, these things that your team in Tamil Nadu has got the experience in doing it. It is just sad, where we are in terms of Tamil Nadu. Because Sasikala can become the general secretary, right, Dr. Swamy? She's not barred from becoming the secretary of the party, correct?
No, it's only she's barred from contesting election.
Contesting in an election. So there you go. That is the solution. She can bring the cadre together, build a spirit of fighting, and give, stand toe to toe, nose to nose with the DMK cadre guy. Otherwise, they're not going to win.
Correct.
Just my 2 cents.
Absolutely. And big thanks to the RSS and the Vishwanda Parishad and the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, we have in every village got a potential unit.
Correct.
If BJP decides, we'll have no problem having people in
absolutely, and it can be replicated in Tamil Nadu very easily. People are looking for a change. You can't be a pussycat, coward, and then expect them to just support you behind the back. Why would they do that?
No, listen, the selection of people who are manning the BJP in Tamil Nadu was made according to someone who would be available to the leadership in Delhi. So they had reduced the BJP to a hospitality center. You arrive, you are taken to a 5-star hotel, and then there are other perquisites that come, which I will not like to mention just now, and then you go back. What is the need for taking Khushbu as a defector from the Congress? She had been in this party, that party, and what is her contribution?
Yeah, we have a whole line of reject Bollywood, Collywood.
Why is that? There is a reason for it, and I know, but it's a. So that is it.
It is a sad
state. Tamil Nadu is such an important state. 40 MPs, including Pondicherry. and we are not. Look at the temples which are so full of people. How much it is being looted. I mean, I am not even able to enforce the Supreme Court judgment of Sabanayaka Nataraj the temple, because every temple says, you go to court, I will not give handover. The government says, I will not hand over, whether it's this government or that government. You can make that as an issue in the elections. You want the temples to be free, temples to be free of looting, then vote for BJP. People will vote. See, I had shown in Madurai where never ADMK had won, and never they said a Brahmin will be allowed to win, because it's a DMK DK stronghold. I won. You see, at one stage I stood alone and came second, because the Karunanidhi fixed the balloting. You see, when the ballots were being counted, he's capable of all that, and I had only young boys as my booth agents. But the second time, when the ADMK cadre were my booth agents, I won by a handsome majority of 30,000, which is a big margin in Tamil Nadu. So therefore, Tamils are ready, but there's nobody coming forward in a credible way.
So there is
Dr. Swamy, I have one question.
जी हिंदी में
No, English, because it is for Tamil Nadu. I want everybody in Tamil Nadu to understand this question.
That's right.
In India, the origin of film-based politics and regional politics started with Tamil Nadu 50 years, in fact, more than 50 years now.
Yeah.
After Congress quit in the late 60s, regional parties have taken over and film culture has taken over. Later on, it is spread to Andhra Pradesh, here, there, everywhere. But this culture originated from Tamil Nadu. Now, even after 50 years, why has there not been a nationalistic movement from the people? Congress is, of course, sleeping party, and Congress is beaten time and again in Tamil Nadu. BJP has hardly any roots. Now it is growing because the BJP is power in the center. So why the nationalistic people in Tamil Nadu have not risen to the occasion to bring a national alternative?
It started with Jawaharlal Nehru surrendering on Hindi. I'm telling you, I know, as a Tamilian can say, having been elected from Tamil Nadu, I can say that everybody wants to learn Hindi because they want to improve their job prospects. And if you show that the Sanskrit words are common in Hindi and Tamil, people will learn. I mean, there's a Hindi Prachar Sabha there. People are going in large numbers to learn Hindi.
Right.
So the sectarian spirit was first started by Jawaharlal Nehru. Then, in his hatred for Congress, Rajagopalacharya took his genio and said, catching my genio, I'm saying that vote for DMK and nothing will happen to Hinduism or to Brahmins. And he was, next day after election, he was put in the corner.
Yeah.
So the only language they understand is the one which you remember as a commerce minister. I went and sat in Connemara Hotel and said, dismiss this government. Yeah. And I said, tell every criminal in the sheet. You know, there's a police sheet which has all the criminals' names. You see, who are like to call each one of them that we'll shoot them. Yeah. Shoot to kill order has been given. And I told the DG, if you have any problem, I'll give you in writing so that the next time there's a commission inquiry, you can give that piece of check. Not one cycle was burnt, leave alone bus being burnt.
Yeah.
And Karunanidhi went and hid in his Chinnaveed, Oliver Road. Yes. And I had to phone him up and tell him, we are not arresting you. You can come out. Don't worry.
Yeah. In fact, you visited Chennai more often than those days.
People celebrated it. And when the elections took place, DMK out of 234 seats got only 2. 232 went to Jayalalitha.
Yes.
So, main thing, Dr. Swamy, in spite of...
Jayalalitha is still a regional party. I'm talking about nationalistic party.
Nationalist, same. You take this issue. I couldn't take it then because I was Janata Party. So BJP. I mean, we got our share. We got our MLAs elected and so on. But to create a nationalist movement, you need the cadre of the RSS, Vishwanda Parishad, Vidyarthi Parishad, and all that. That coordinated thing with the BJP, that will come very fast. But these guys have they have created such a cartel. We have no place, just no place.
In spite of Tamil Nadu being such a strong Hindu state, I mean, obviously
Yeah,
facing the onslaught of conversion,
right.
Facing the onslaught of conversion which is being resisted, it is sad that BJP is not able to exploit that sentiment.
Not even trying. Where the question
trying to.
Yeah, they're not trying. They don't want to be a Hindu party. They just want some 5 people to get elected and make money. All the people who earlier on got elected, they've got big colleges, medical college, this college, that college. I can show it to you. Some are running hospitality centers on their own, which you know what it means. So,
yes, that's it. Okay, Jagdish.
Yeah, Dr. Swamy, I have a general question. You are
yes.
a BJP member. Many of us are associated with BJP. Many feel that your criticism of some policies of the BJP is perhaps mistaken. What do you have to say on this?
See, if you're a Democratic Party, no one will raise this question. We have been brought up by this past traditions of Rajas and Maharajas, you see, or de facto Maharajas. Take, for example, the Conservative Party in Britain. When Chamberlain was asking for a soft line on Hitler, Winston Churchill stood up, and he was a minister also, by the way, in the government. I'm not in a position in any forum of the party except the National Executive, which never meets, and it has, I think, 200 or 300 members, and they don't entertain any dissident notes or anything. So I have to I have to tell the people what is wrong. Otherwise, people later on say, "Why did you keep quiet?" I know that after the emergency, everybody asked the congressman, "Why did you keep quiet?" So today, when something wrong is happening, I have to speak. You see, and I can tell you that in the party constitution, there is no such thing that you can't differ on issues of policy. Yeah, if I were to go hold a press conference and talk about the corruption of A, B, C, D in the party, yes, that would be very damaging for the party. But an alternative view, I am giving you a constructive alternative view. How to revive the economy, I have given you an alternative plan. How to deal with China, I have given you an alternative plan. So these are all these riffraffs who are going around creating this impression. And we cannot, in a democratic situation. And today, the democracy is in danger because the press has completely folded up. Look at what's happened to the press. They're all just singing whatever handouts come from the government. And therefore, I think it's a very dangerous trend if people don't speak up. Or if I write a letter, VM should call me and say, okay, I'll call about 10 colleagues of mine and we'll have a discussion, which is how it is done. Do you think in the Republican Party today, people are not differing with Trump? Do you think that the Democratic people don't differ with their leaders? So in a Democratic Party, you campaign for the party and say, this is the best party, which I'm doing. And the most important driving force of the BJP is the Hindutva. And then I've done the maximum. What do you say to those who say that those who have nationalized the temples in Uttarakhand? Why have we kept quiet? Is that is that party discipline that you're keeping quiet? I mean, it's a brazen act against everything we stand for. Takeover of temples by the government and appointing the chief minister as the trustee chairman. So this is the thing. We have to keep the democracy healthy, and that means dissent. And dissent is on policy, and policy, can be rectified, but not on fundamentals. If I tomorrow say that abolition of 370 is wrong, that would be violation of the party. But on that, I am in the forefront on every Hindutva issue. If you don't allow Ram Setu to be declared as a national heritage monument, am I at fault, or the people who are blocking it? Does that cover the answer that you wanted, Jagdish?
Yeah. And yes, definitely it covers. So you in short, what you are saying is that we are all for BJP, and it is a part of a large Hindutva movement, and there are some things to be improved in the larger interest of the Hindutva, and BJP is the best bet for the country.
Yeah. And by the way, people like me are all, I mean, not formally, but we are all considered part of the Margdarshan Mandal. So I'm giving Margdarshan only. Now, you can't say that you will be part of the Mandal but not give Margdarshan. That'd be ridiculous. No?
Yes. Arvind?
Okay, थैंक यू डॉक्टर स्वामी. बड़े ताज्जुब की बात है, और कि आपने जितना भी आज कंस्ट्रक्टिव क्रिटिसिज्म की बात की है मोदी के सामने और मोदी सरकार की आलोचना करते समय, ये बहुत ही रचनात्मक सहयोग है भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए. और हमें आशा है, उम्मीद है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी इस पर ध्यान देगी, और जो आपने मार्गदर्शन अभी तक किया है वो करते आ रहे हैं, उसका एक प्रकार से संज्ञान लेगी. और जो आपके सुझाव हैं, चाहे वो अर्थ नीति को लेकर हो, चाहे वो अन्य प्रशासन की नीतियों को लेकर हो, they will implement your views, and you are really a real margdarshak for BJP. And मुझे I have no hesitation in quoting Uma Shri Bharti, who has given 6 tweets today saying that ये कलयुग है, और कलयुग में हंस को दाना मिलता है और कौवे को मोती मिलता है. ये विधाता की बात है. और उमा भारती जी ने कहा है, मैं उससे काफी सहमत होते हुए, दोनों विषयों पे, तमिलनाडु राजनीति and the Modi administration, you have given very good suggestions, and our viewers, I'm sure, they had a lot of remarks on the side, and they have been praising you all this while, and they have been questioning that why BJP is not giving you enough power to be part of the Modi cabinet. Those things are part.
मैं एक उदाहरण आपके लिए जोड़ता हूँ
जी.
वो है कि जब ये जीएसटी न आई, इसमें वाह 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 सारा देश में हो रहा था जी. तब मैंने कहा ये जीएसटी हमें मार देगा, हमारी सारा इसमें खटाई में डाल देगा. एक कितना भी दूध हो, एक बूंद नींबू का बस काफी है. तो आखिर में 1 साल के बाद तो वही किया प्रधानमंत्री ने. चाइना के बारे जब मैंने वो जो ब्रिक्स बैंक का प्रेसिडेंटशिप नहीं चाहिए मैंने कहा, तब मुझे ये अमित शाह ने कहा कि भाई प्रधानमंत्री ने इतना मेहनत करके तो एक इंडिया के लिए एक जगह बनाई है कि पहला प्रेसिडेंट इंडिया से होगा, तुम ऐसे ही उसको ठुकरा रहे हो. प्रधानमंत्री तो आपके इंतजार में बैठे हैं कि आप आकर हाँ कहेंगे. मैंने कहा मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, क्योंकि वो चीन के साथ हमारी युद्ध होने वाली है. तो उन्होंने कहा वो कैसा होगा? मैंने कहा हाँ वो चिड़े हुए हैं. हाँ वो चिड़े होंगे क्योंकि मोदी इतना लोकप्रिय हो गया दुनिया में, उसमें उनको जलन होगी. अब मेरी बात नहीं सुनी, वही हुआ है. अब यानी मैं, और या ऐसा बोलो कि स्वामी फोन उठाएगा तो प्रधानमंत्री फोन में आएगा, मैं उनको बोल दूंगा, या मेरी चिट्ठी देगा तो मुझे फोन करके कहेगा कि भाई मैंने पढ़ा है, बहुत ये बात समझ में नहीं आई, ये बात समझ में नहीं आई, या ये बहुत अच्छी बात है. ऐसा होगा तो हो सकता है. ऐसा नरसिम्हा राव के साथ होता था, ऐसा चंद्रशेखर की बारी तो आप आमने सामने जानते थे. उसके सारे मिनिस्टर को कहता था नहीं नहीं, और आखिर में चंद्रशेखर मेरी बात सुनने के बाद कहता है स्वामी ठीक कर रहा है. मोरारजी देसाई के साथ मैं कैसे बात करता था आप जानते हैं. एक बार उसने कहा कि स्वामी इज नॉट अ फ्रंट रैंक लीडर, तो जब अखबार ने पूछा, मैंने कहा मैं 80 साल का बुढ़ा नहीं हूं, तो मैं फ्रंट लाइन लीडर कैसा हो सकता है? आपको याद है कितने हंगामा से हुई थी उसमें, पर मोरार जी ने अप्रिशिएट किया। तो डेमोक्रेसी में मूल बात पर आप हैं। मैं हिंदुत्व का आज प्रमुख माना जाता हूं जनता के बीच में, जहां तक बीजेपी है, और हिंदुत्व के लिए ही मैं बीजेपी में आया था। आप जानते हैं शंकराचार्य के बाद मैंने कितना आप लोगों को कहा कि भाई अब जनता पार्टी अलग से चलाना जरूरत नहीं है, हम लोगों को बीजेपी में जाना चाहिए और हिंदुत्व को बचाना चाहिए। उसी हिंदुत्व का मैं, वो मूल बात है, उसमें से हम इधर उधर नहीं होंगे। परंतु जहाँ नीति है, और वो भी इकोनॉमिक्स में, जिसमें मैं प्राध्यापक रहा हूँ दुनिया के मोस्ट फेमस यूनिवर्सिटी में, और जॉइंट पेपर लिखा हूँ मैंने पॉल सैमुअल्स से, तो मैं ऐसे इसको ये सारा दयनीय स्थिति देखकर मुझे हर्ष होता है।
जी नहीं, निश्चित ही आपका एक एक सुझाव बेशकीमती सुझाव है, और हम आशा कर सकते हैं कि ये प्रोग्राम किसी तरह हमारे प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी तक भी पहुंचे और उस रचनात्मक आलोचना को वो सकारात्मक रूप से लें, और आपके सुझाव जो है अर्थनीति के बारे में या देश नीति के बारे में, उनको इम्प्लीमेंट करें। आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आपने हमारे दर्शकों के बहुत से प्रश्नों के भी उत्तर अपने विचारों के रूप में दे दिए। हम अपनी टेक्निकल टीम का भी धन्यवाद करते हैं, लेड बाय आशीष शेट्टी, तेजस स्वामीनाथन, ईश्वर अय्यर, गड़गी राकेश एंड विशाल मेहता. I thank my co-hosts Ramesh Swamy and Jagdish Shetty ji. Thank you, Dr. Swamy. We will be meeting again next Saturday in Nyay Gyan Ganga, and Sunday in Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga again with a new topic and your views. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
जय हिंद, नमस्ते।